A Sudbury native, Cameron Lizotte, his fashions are turning heads in Paris and in Vancouver.
Cool.
Lizotte?
Lizotte.
Lizotte? Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
Tomato.
He's the founder of Atelier Coin. Atelier Coin.
There you go.
So if you're English, you would say Atelier Coin.
Atelier Coin.
But if you're not too familiar, atelier is like a workshop, but in modern Canadian parlance, it kind of means like a designer studio. Mm-hmm. And coin means corner. Designer but it also corner. Kind of is, would that be not a homonym, but it looks the same as the English word coin. Okay. And he says he based the name partially on the coin. The idea of a coin, because he's from Sudbury.
Even though it's French, has the meaning in French, and that's why it's there. There's a double meaning to it, because in English it's a coin. Yeah. And I can see where this is going.
Yeah, so the name is a pun, he explained. Mm-hmm. The French word for workshop, but in fashion circles it means design studio, and coin is the French word for corner. So it could be translated as corner studio. But he says it's in reference to the nickel capital of the world.
Wow, ever cool.
That's right.
That makes sense. I mean, I really do love this in marketing when there's a lot more association with something and double meanings. And a lot of times, similar to the Subway logo, one time you're looking at it and say, wait a minute, I see an arrow in the middle, and you never saw it before. Things like that. Right. In marketing, like there's these aha moments and things, and very creative. So this person obviously is very creative, not only from Sudbury, designing internationally, very sharp, obviously, very creative, was an OHL defenseman for like 4 years. And he was good. On top of that, and good too. So multi-talented, multifaceted, bilingual, obviously. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this showing, it's a showing in Paris that he has, or is his line just being...
Paris Fashion Week. So he's actually living in Victoria. Yeah. But he's being featured in Vancouver Fashion Week. Cool. Which is, it's in Paris. So he's going to be traveling thousands of miles. Sometimes I read all these stories before and I skim over the details. So
there's a lot of details.
It's good to know. If you're willing to travel, you could see his...
like if you're in Paris in the next week.
You just happen to be in Paris.
You just happen to be in Paris, you can stop in and see it.
And some of the teams he played for in the OHL? Yeah. Peterborough Petes, Barrie Colts, and the Erie Otters.
There you go. 3 teams in 4 years. Wow. Defenseman.
That's right. And
turned fashion designer. But apparently,
wish him all the best, really.
Apparently he was designing in high school already as well.
Yeah, he hadn't fully developed the skill, but he wanted to. Mm-hmm. And that's, isn't that kind of the story of successful, people, is that they always knew that thing, but they, just had to things had to line up.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, you see potential in people, and in high school, it sounded like they definitely noticed that he had a talent for this, and rightfully so, because look what the outcome is, and now he's
doing really well.
He's in Paris and he's showcasing his stuff, and
he's still seen as an upcoming talent, right? Yeah. They're constantly doing this in fashion circles because fashion's such a creative destruction. Mm-hmm. It's always changing. They always need to be bringing in new talent. Yeah. So.
And then there's the ones that stick around quite a bit and make these iconic names for themselves. And I really like this because, okay, sure, on a local level, OHL is pretty prominent. People will know your name and you're kind of a local kind of celebrity. The one thing I take a little bit of exception with are these big name celebrities when they get into fashion in a way, because
doesn't that seem easy?
It's already they just hire a little team to make stuff for them. It's not even theirs, and they put their name on it, and then they reap the benefits because it's their name basically that's selling these products. So
you think so?
I know. Anyways, I think it's more common than not. Maybe there's the odd celebrity that has a lot of talent and designs their own things, but I think it's more common than not that they don't have all that much talent for fashion, let's say. Maybe they're a good singer, or they can work auto-tune really well in the studio.
I got really good advice from a mentor of mine. Mm-hmm. He said, when you do really well at one thing, your ego starts to balloon. Like your head starts getting bigger and bigger.
And then you can do
well
at all things. And you
start thinking that you can succeed at everything. And a lot of the time, the thing that got you in your position starts to suffer.
Yeah.
And then a few years, you find yourself wondering, like, where did all my success kind of run off to?
Yeah.
I think a lot of celebrities go through that. They think, if I've gotten this famous, I must be good at like a lot of things.
Yeah.
I see that a lot.
And I don't think it's all that. I don't think you can blame them in some ways either.
I get it.
But to me, like the best thing would be for, we're getting off on a little bit of a celebrity.
A little bit, yeah.
Would be, you have some success. You know what I would do if for some reason, success would come my way in some way that,
Sure.
you had some celebrity of some kind and you're able to come into some financial success because of it, would be right away. I would buy a couple apartment buildings right away. That's all I would do. I wouldn't go spending it on a yacht or go traveling. I would just buy a couple apartment buildings.
Why do you say that?
Because you never know how long the gravy train's going to last. You never know how long your success is going to go on. You don't know what's in the future, but something like that gives you financial stability. And you hear all these stories where celebrities, they go up and down and now they're bankrupt. And
yeah, how often do you go all the way up and then all the way down?
Exactly, and they just kind of blew their money. So that, and again, I'm speaking from a lot of these celebrities come into that when they're younger too, right? So would my younger self think the same way? Possibly not.
For sure. No, I think you it's kind of a trite and an overused thing, but what you really want in life, I think, will come to you, and you'll be able to find just what you need at the right time. Like both of us believe in a greater power, and I think that definitely comes into play with things that are really important to you. If you're doing like the right things and you're, doing your best and people can see that, good things just seem to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think there's definitely a value in being optimistic in your life. Like believing that good things can happen to you makes them happen.
No, it's true.
It sounds ethereal, but I think it's absolutely true.
And even looking for the good in everything as well. Like looking for what in this challenge that I even have, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, you look at it, what in this thing is there for me in a good way.
Yep.
Right away, you're training your mind to be that positive, and the more you are, it's kind of like training for hockey. A lot of people might say, well, he's lucky, he got a lot of lucky goals, but
nobody
really
that's done it would ever say that.
No, if you train really hard, you kind of set yourself up for things, then you can be lucky because you put yourself in a situation to be lucky, right?
He's so lucky he got up at 6 a.m. every day and practiced for 3 hours.
Exactly.
That's just... Yeah, when I hear things like that, it makes me laugh.
And the same thing with him from Sudbury. This didn't just happen for him. He worked really hard at this. Yep. It was he had a talent, and
he's obviously talented as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Worked on it.
You shouldn't be working, making your life goal something you're not naturally good at.
Or something you won't be able to get good at, because there are some things you
get honest people to tell you in your life if you're good at it.
Like if you're trying to do something and for 3 years you worked at it every day and it's still not doing anything and you don't really see that there is that, right? You can hope or believe in anything, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It has to be grounded in some kind of something that's tangible, like something you really know you're good at it, or you can be good at it. It can't be. There's a difference between that and fantasy. I think there's a line, right? Some people are possibly in a fantasy world, believing they will be the next star, but there's nothing there of evidence that would indicate that that's possible.
This is going to make me sound jaded, but I learned in business school that over 90% of the money made in it's just an example, but it's like this in every industry. 90% of the money made in sports is made from non-professional.
So advertising deals, is that what you mean, or no? What?
I mean, the money in sports comes from the bottom. Like the average person that has no talent, just enjoys the thing.
Okay.
Whether you're talking about shoes, or whether you're talking about watching it on TV.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of idolize the best at everything,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a very, very small fraction
1%
of the thing itself.
1% of 1% kind of thing.
Yeah. So
The really good
if
players.
you're, like, for instance, if you're in the OHL, you know, what tier of person were you in hockey to even make it that far?
Yeah, pretty darn good.
You're pretty darn good, and you've been doing it for your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone in the OHL is like at that level, you have to realize that's not even the bottom of the pyramid. You're already like pretty high up pyramid. And if you say at that point, I'm tapping out, just think of how many thousands of other people are doing the same thing before they get to like the highest level.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's helpful to be self-aware sometimes and say, am I really in the top 1% of 1% in this thing?
Definitely.
Is it worth spending my life doing? But anyways.
It takes a lot of work, man. Like I know, when I was training in hockey, I was basically skating before I could walk. And it was, I loved it though. It would have been hard work. It is sacrifice. I was up before going to school in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then after school, I was, so I was up doing push-ups and sit-ups before school, and a lot of times on the rink doing skills. And then I would go to school, then come home from school and go back on the rink.
Sure.
I loved it, but I had my dad there coaching me.
And he was into it as well.
He was into it. He loved it. He wanted me to excel. So, he was definitely, but it was an everyday thing. 4 hours a day, let's say. Something that you just have to keep in mind, that those that
Sure.
really want something, you got to really do.
And think of the people that are, ended up succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they were putting more time and effort into it, or it was just some other factor that you had no control over? It's hard to say, but
I think then again, there's the luck. There's the timing.
It is a little bit of
there's some of that, but it comes usually after all of the hard work that you put in.
Exactly.
Then there's that, because a lot of people, and there's so many stories of people that get into sports and then, they were the top tier or whatever, but then they got a knee injury and they're out.
Yeah, it's just luck, right?
It just happened. They got a career-ending knee injury, but they were set to be the number one player, and so life just kind of happens, and sometimes you don't know. But again, right? It's So there's where chance comes in that you cannot control.